Hello world, Colin here with Harness Money, and go ahead and hit that like button. And today let's talk about how you can become a master of your cash flow. This was a big issue when I was beginning. I had no control over my cash flow. I didn't know what was coming in and I didn't know what was going out. And I think deep down at the heart of it is I really didn't want to know. I didn't want to look at what was coming in and what was going out and what my financial position was because I had no control over my money. And that more money was going out than was coming in. That was my big problem, was my income. My income was non-existent. And the truth is that I didn't want to sit down and take a hard look at where I was financially because I knew the picture wasn't going to be pretty. I knew that I needed to really work on getting more income rather than my expenses. My expenses were outpacing my income. My rent, my food, my travel was just all overboard than I could afford. I really couldn't afford how I was actually living, and it just eventually caught up to me. And I got to the point where I couldn't go on anymore. I had to take a hard look. I was kind of forced. I was forced to take a look at my financial position and tell myself, you know what? I do not want to be here. I want to get better. I want to make better investments. I actually want to be rich and be wealthy someday and just not be living paycheck to paycheck. And that really comes down to understanding what your cash flow is and really growing that cash flow in a positive direction. So it first comes down to that your cash flow is all about your income. It's the difference between your income and your expenses. You want to be growing the gap between your income and your expenses. That means your expenses are decreasing while your income is increasing. And that starts with you looking at how much actually are you actually bringing in every month or every week or every 2 weeks or whatever. How much are you bringing in and how much is going out? How much are you spending on food, expenses, travel, fun, entertainment, your cell phone? You have to take a hard look at all of those things, quantify them. It's much easier to quantify your income over your expenses. It's harder to dig into your expenses because there's probably there's a larger quantity of expenses than income. Your income is probably a paycheck or even income from a business, but it might not be every single day. It's probably more weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, that way. So it just happens less than your actual expenses, where you could be spending money every single day if you go into work, or if you have a bill come, or if you're paying for different expenses online or wherever. So it's much easier to quantify your income first, then dig into your expenses. Know where all of your money is going. Is it going toward shopping? Is it going toward food? Where exactly is it going? And then you can start tackling the expenses. If you've never looked at your budget before or your cash flow, you want to decrease your expenses. What do you really need versus what is nice to have? It's so funny that we often, I think personal finance looks at your personal budget, but really everything has a budget. Every organization has a budget. Every governments have budgets. It's like they're all over the place, but for some reason people are more inclined to not want to have a personal budget. I think people have the idea that a personal budget is constraining, like, oh, I have to live within a certain amount and you're taking something away from me. But the truth is that everyone has a budget. The Queen of England has a budget. The United States government has a budget. Nonprofits have budgets. Businesses have budgets. It's like every person or organization should have some type of budget. And the truth is, you probably have a budget, you just don't know what exactly it is. You don't know where it's going if you've never looked at it before, if you haven't quantified it. You have a certain amount coming in and going out. You may have just never sat down and written down what it is. So that's exactly what the cash flow is. Mastering cash flow. So first take a look at your income, then dig into your expenses and start cutting expenses or just start quantifying it. Can you get things cheaper? I always have in my mind, if I'm going to purchase something, can I actually buy this maybe used or at a discount? There's always ways to buy things at discounts. You can buy pretty much anything at a discount these days. There's no reason to go buy brand new. Even things like luxury goods like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Tom Ford, Ralph Lauren, all these things. All of that stuff can be purchased can be purchased at a discount rather than paying full price for the actual good or service. So that is a whole topic and a whole other video. But never pay full price. Always ask yourself, can you get it used or at a discount, and save some money that way? And then ask yourself if you really need some of these things. Do you really need cable these days? Do you really need to be paying as high of a cell phone bill as you do? Can you get that stuff negotiated? Can you get that reduced? Give the company a call and see if they will give you a lower rate. There's always room for negotiation. You can always ask. All they can do is say no. Rejection is a part of life. But once you find out what your expenses are and you have cut expenses, forget about it. Go towards your income. Your income is your most important asset. It's your most important lifeline. You should be spending a lot more time thinking on your income and growing your income rather than your expenses, because your income is the way that you are going to get to early retirement, financial independence. That's what I'm all about, is everyone needs to be financially independent. You don't want to have to be tied to a job that may fire you, which has happened to me. You don't want to be tied to maybe your parents or just some entity that is pulling strings above you that you have to listen to, that you have to follow, that you're financially tied to. You want to have that independence so you can make choices that are best for your life and your soul, and maybe that are best for your values. We all have different values. Some people value climate change. Some people value faith. Some people value just animal rights. Everybody's different. So you want to put your money where your values are. You want to match your money into your values. And that can only happen if you have control over what money is coming in and what money is going out. So the next thing is increasing that income, finding a side hustle, finding ways to increase your salary at your current job, finding ways to start a new business, become an entrepreneur, maybe take on a side hustle. You have your regular job, but then you do Uber on the side, or you deliver for Grubhub or Amazon, or you have an online store, whatever it is. It's a great ways to increase your income. That's what you need to be doing, because that's what's going to get you to financial independence. And then once you've grown that gap big enough that you have a wide enough gulf between your income and your expenses, you want to always have money set aside in case of emergency. Cash is king. Cash is always king. You want to have enough money set aside so that if you lost your job, you would be able to survive, 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long it is, or God forbid, a health crisis happens, something happens to your health where you can't work for a certain period of time. You want to have money set aside just in case. There's nothing like liquid cash in a bank account just waiting there for you in case you ever need it. So you put a portion of it aside, and then you want to invest the rest, because that's how you're really going to get to financial independence. Or once you've reached financial independence, that's how you're going to stay there, is through your investments, through investing in real estate, or investing in a business, or investing in the stock market, investing in assets that are passive, that you don't actually have to be there, passive income. You don't have to be working at a job to make that money. You purchase those assets, they start paying you over the long term, so you can go live your life, go travel, do whatever. Like I said, if you get hurt or have a sickness or something and can't work, you still have income coming in. That's basically what Social Security is. Social Security is you put money away, you're basically putting it into an asset, and then when you hit a certain age, 62, 65, 70, you withdraw that money, they start paying you. You don't have to keep working anymore. That's how you're going to reach financial independence, is through making those smart investments. And the more investments that you can have, the better off your financial position would be. That's why it's so important to increase your income, because you're going to have a portion of your money is going to have to go to expenses. Those are fixed expenses. I live in Texas, and Texas has, they have no state income tax, but they have property taxes. So every single year, based on your house property value, you're going to have to pay a portion of money in taxes to the state. So that's a fixed expense. That's an expense that you can't get out of. I mean, you could go rent somewhere, But even if you're renting, that's another fixed expense. It's like you're gonna have, if you're renting somewhere, you're gonna have to put a certain portion of your money aside every single month to pay that rent or to pay your property taxes yearly. So you're gonna have a portion of your income that is always considered a fixed expense, but the rest is considered money that you could invest, that you could go out and put into the stock market, an index fund, individual stocks, or real estate. Rental income is a great way to build your investments, but that is the money that you have to actually invest, is the gap between your expenses and your income. So if you have more income, that means you have more money to invest, or you can spend a little bit more. You can go out and buy a Tesla or buy a nice car or spend money shamelessly on things that you love. People in my family love traveling, so we'll go to Colorado, we'll go to New York City, we'll go out to California and go to Los Angeles. It's like, I just, this year before Rona, I went to Tokyo, I went to Japan. The year before that, I went to Sydney. So it's like, I love putting a portion of my money away to go travel. It's so much fun. And that's what it is. That's what it takes to become financially independent. So you want to become a master of your cash flow. Know what's going in, know what's going out, and you will get better at this over time. You won't be a master right away. It takes practice. Money is all about practice. It's a flow. Money will come in and money will go out. It will never be over. From the day that you're born till the day that you die, money is impacting your life, shaping the way that you live. So you want to become the master. You want to control what power that it has over you and mold it to fit your values and fit your lifestyle. So thanks for watching this video. Come back, watch all the things that we have to offer, and I hope you learned something. This is Harness Money, and I am Colin. Until next time.